Here's an interesting little experiment that you can perform if you want to find out if the women in your lives have any empathy for men, if they actually think about what the male experience is like, or if they just think about themselves. You ask them this question. Ask them, if a man is single and lonely, what's his biggest pain? Yeah? What causes him the most suffering? Now, she might say, well, it's the fact that nobody loves him. He wants to be loved, but he has no partner. Now, if she answers that way, she is half right, right? But she says that, she gives that specific answer because she is a woman and that's her experience. That's what would cause her as a woman pain. Because women want to be loved, and when they're single, it hurts them that no one is there and loving them. Now, of course, men want to be loved too. All humans do. But the answer that women never give, because they don't understand this about men, is that wanting to be loved is only half of the equation. The other half that causes him lots of pain and suffering is that he doesn't have somebody to love. Yeah? There is something so tragic about a chef who cooks delicious meals that nobody eats. There's something so sad about a musician who writes amazing songs that nobody wants to listen to. And there's something really depressing about a man who has so much love to give, and yet nobody wants to receive his love. As much as it is a human need to be loved, equally it is a human need to love, to have somebody be the recipient of your love. Men who are single and lonely experience that pain acutely. You know, they have that feeling, that thought that they have love to share, but nobody wants to receive it. It hurts. And this is actually the reason why sugar babies exist. It's not just about sex. Of course not. If it was, then people would just go and see, 30-minute hookers. But women have figured out that men have this need beyond just sexual gratification to actually love women, to provide for them, to shower them with gifts and affection. And it's very easy for women to become sugar babies, to play that role, because receiving love from men, that comes naturally to women. That's normal for them. That feels safe and familiar. To have this strong masculine man love and adore them, they love that. They absolutely revel in that sort of attention. What doesn't come naturally to women is to give love to men. You see, women still want to give love, but they have a different outlet, It's not necessarily romantic. You've probably heard that saying, men love women, women receive love from men, women give love to children, children receive love from women, and children give love to animals. It's this sort of love hierarchy. It's a simplistic idea, of course, but it sort of paints the natural flow of things. And when you first hear it, it sort of sounds a bit sexist, doesn't it? Sort of like men are above women, women are above children, and that love flows that way because human beings are only capable of loving things that are lesser than us or something. I'll agree, it doesn't sound great. It sounds a bit sexist, but I don't really know what to do about that, because from my perspective, if women don't like it, they want to disprove that this hierarchy exists, then the onus is on them to actually make a change. They need to show more love and care for the men in their lives, right? Once women spend as much time comforting their boyfriends and attending to their emotions as men do to them, once women plan as many romantic gestures for their boyfriends as their boyfriends do for them, once women can articulate the nuances of the many issues facing men in today's society as men can do for the main feminist issues, once women demonstrate that they care about men and that they view it as their responsibility to help men, and they take lots of time and effort to understand and sympathize with men, it's at that point we can say that this, sexist sounding hierarchy doesn't exist. But until that happens, while men give so much more love to women, so much more attention than women give to men, we're stuck with this hierarchy, which, by the way, even though it sounds sexist, it's not actually sexist. It just sounds that way, because really what's going on here is that evolution has created men and women differently, Think of how men used to take care of women back in caveman days. He'd be hunting food, making shelters, protecting her against would-be attackers. And this is not some, miserable chore he's performing. He's happy to do it because they're partners, they're a team. And she's doing her part because she's pregnant or she's breastfeeding an infant or whatever it might be. So evolution incentivized these different instincts, these different priorities in both the genders. But, we have to have some cross-gender understanding here. We have to actually make an effort to learn what things are like for the other gender. And this aspect of male psychology women still don't understand it about men. They take the simple path, it's easier to just demonize men than actually make an effort to understand them. But when a man wants a girlfriend, it's not just so that he can ruthlessly exploit her and drain her of all of her love, take it into himself. That's not what's going on. He wants to give her love. He's desperate to. That's where that saying comes from. He has so much love to give. And when speaking to women, I often get them to understand this by making the comparison. I make something, similar to their experience that they can relate to. The way that some women feel when they see babies, that urge to take care of something, to shower it with love and, to sort of spoil it and protect it. That is how single men often feel around women. They want to take care of them. They want to shower them with love and affection. And it hurts to have all of that love and to have nobody to give it to. It's actually an important part of feeling fulfilled as a man, of being validated as a man who's worthy in your masculinity, to actually find a woman who wants to receive your love. Some women say, I just feel like I'm going to be a full woman and validated in my femininity once I have children, once I have this little being that is dependent upon me and I get to take care of it and, share all of my love with it. Yeah, awesome. But that feeling that you're experiencing, men are experiencing something similar in their romantic lives, in that wanting to take care of a woman, in wanting to give her love. So many single guys feel abnormal, like something is missing in their lives, something's wrong with them until they have a girlfriend, somebody they can love. Then they feel normal, like they're having the normal human experience. It's then that they feel like a real man. And I want women to understand that this is not something small and insignificant that we can just brush aside. This is a serious need that men have. Some men are even resorting to buying dolls, like these life-sized replicas of women, and they're having relationships. I watched this documentary on it. It's not just about sex. Some of these guys have full-on imaginary relationships with these dolls. Now, women can't relate to this. They can't understand. There's never going to be the same market for male dolls that are sold to women because, for the most part, women, it's so easy for them in the dating market, so they're never going to be as desperate as a man is. But it's also because women aren't having that male experience of needing a romantic relationship so that they can express their love. So women can't understand why a man would ever buy a doll. They see a man with a doll in this fake relationship, and she thinks, this makes zero sense. What possible pleasure could he get from this? The doll doesn't interact with him. It doesn't talk back to him. And she's right, but what she doesn't understand is that the doll is meeting something very important for that man's psychology. It fulfills that very human need of giving him something that he can love. And of course, with advances in technology where inanimate dolls are going to be replaced by robots that are able to speak and, respond, they're going to have artificial intelligence, they'll give men the impression of loving them back. And so that's a whole other discussion. But from my perspective, this trend of robots, and that's inevitable. There's a certain percentage of the population that is never going to partner up, and that percentage seems to be climbing. Now, as much as possible, I'm trying to fight against that trend. For the men who watch this channel, I'm trying to get them into healthy relationships with human females, not dolls. So I explain how the female mind works so that men can understand them better and have, successful relationships. Which is a reminder, if you need advice, please reach out to me on Hey Hero. Tell me your story. I'll send you a personalized video in response. I've got tremendous views over there. People seem to enjoy the surface. So if you need to talk to me, that's the way to do it. But just to reiterate, as a man, you want to receive love, of course, but you also need to give love. That is an equally important human need. And there's nothing to be ashamed of about that. It is built into your biology, hardwired in your brain. I've had guys in my Hey Hero requests tell me how fulfilling it is to them personally as an individual man to love a woman, to have somebody to do nice things for, to do favors, to do romantic gestures, and to receive gratitude in return. There are lots of men who, instead of receiving a favor from a woman, they would rather do a favor from a woman and then receive gratitude for that favor. And in a sense, as a man, that gratitude is actually an important way that we receive love. It's how we feel valued and validated in our worth and our masculinity. And so to any women out there, who's listening to this, if your boyfriend wants to love you, please let him, and please show him your gratitude. I promise it's going to mean a lot to him. This actually ties in nicely with my latest Patreon video, which is the importance of finding a woman who you want to reward in your long-term relationship with your love, right? Like as you improve as a man, your relationships are going to be a lot less about what you can get and more about what you can give. And all of this stuff is what I cover in my latest Patreon video. Fascinating topic. If you want access to that, then please go and sign up on my Patreon. It's just a $5 a month subscription. You get instant access to a whole bunch of exclusive content. It's a great way of supporting the creator. I post twice a week. I don't know what else to say. We have an awesome community. I'd love to see you over there so that you can be a part of it.